Never heard that before.
Hi, welcome to Tom's Take on Tom's Take on Takeout. We are at 600 South Pennsylvania Avenue. Leo's Outpost, the ultimate Eastern Quaker alumni hangout, which is why I love it. And my co-host, fellow Quaker over here, Gary Snelly Snellenberger, class of 74, like me, the best damn class ever in the history of the school. Class of 74 from that other school, that sexy big red Teddy Terzian. Every week we try to promote restaurant business, takeout business here in Greater Lansing. We love it. It's a labor of love. Our special guest, indeed special himself, the legendary Jimmy Lynch of Double Trouble. Jim and Jeff Lynch, storied athletes of Eastern High School. I'm going to embarrass the hell out of this guy before we're done. Name is Lynch family, 3-generation former Quakers from the Lynch family. Or is there four? I didn't even do my homework. But the reason we're here because at Leo's Lodge, or actually Leo's Outpost, because there's a Leo's Lodge which is affiliated, correct? Yep. Jimmy, you are what we would call a preferred customer?
Yeah, I'd say so.
The dude has his own freaking parking slot, the Lynch family, where you pull in, that's where, hey, what does it take to get your own parking slot?
I guess it just takes a lot of time coming down here.
How much?
We came down here, I have 4 kids still went to Eastern. They all played sports. We came down here after every sport. We had dinner. And then they finally, it got busy, so I was always complaining about not having a parking spot, and they gave me a parking spot.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Yeah, that's all that. Snelly, Quaker, you've been, from the old DeMarco days, you've been hanging out here a lot.
I've been here quite a few times. I wish they still had the surf and turf on the menu. The pizza on Sundays, BOGO, is a great deal, good pizza. I personally think Jim got his personal spot because he's a member of the $1 Gallon Miller Lite Club.
Whoa! That's
a good one.
Content there, Snelly.
Thanks, Gary. You're all right. You're all right.
Wow, that's an accomplishment. Okay, Ted Terzian, you West Sider, we let you come over here once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Well, this was the time we allowed you to, but what is, and you go back to DeMarco days here.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been coming here for a long time. I mean, the nostalgia when you come here, you walk in, you see the pictures on the walls of the DeMarcos, and remember the party store next door.
There you go.
And I go in there and I see all the DeMarco brothers in there, and
it's great.
It was the best.
I'll tell you, Jeff, I started being a stock boy at age 10.
Yes, I remember that story.
And the best part about working here was we got to eat whatever we wanted, and we always went downstairs. They had a huge pop cooler, and we got to have frosty root beer. Ooh. So we had giant ham, steak sandwiches, just the best. And just ate most of the time. Yeah. So that was good, and they did a great job. We had a great time. Learned a lot too. Went from bartender, went to stock boy to cook to bartender, and we'd come back from Grand Valley and bartend on the weekends.
So you were shoulder to shoulder with David the Mad Dog?
So let me just tell you a quick story. Dave doesn't like this story.
I was going to say it.
This
He
is
didn't
great.
like it because it's
So
small.
Jeff and I come down on a Saturday night, and Ed, his dad, goes to come to Jeff and I and says, "Hey, one of you guys got to go home because Dave's going to work tonight." And I said, "Ed, if one of us goes home, we're both going home." Because I guess all 3 of you are working. And back then, that was probably in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. And Dave and Jeff and I worked in the kitchen, and all night, all he did was sports trivia. And that's before sports radio. And I'm like, how do you know all that? And he did, and it was fun. It was just a ball. Because he was back then, he knew all that. I thought one day after sports, he would be on this.
Okay, there's a fellow Quaker alumni, Doug Babcock, who messaged me and wanted to have you tell the story that you're talking about Grand Valley playing with Jeff, your twin brother Jeff at Grand Valley. You made your signing commitment back in one of those back rooms.
It was a back room here. Doug was an Eastern guy, and graduated in '76, I believe.
He did.
And he played up at Grand Valley, then became a graduate assistant. He recruited Jeff and I. My dad came down here a lot too. And so one night, Coach Harkma, the head coach at Grand Valley, came down, and in the back room was called the Red Room. Oh yeah. There was a green room and a red room. In the red room, we sat back there, had pizza and pop, and signed a letter, and that was it. Yeah, it was good. Doug did a wonderful job. He's to this day still a great friend.
Oh yeah, well, because he's an Easter guy, right?
Exactly right. Oh, Easter guy, not Sexton guy. I do like Ted though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, this goes back to this small town thing, you know.
Yeah.
These three guys, folks, that I'm around, the reason I hang around, because they're popular people, they're cool people, they know people, and they introduce me to people, so, because my whole goal in life is to become popular, and one of these days I'm going to be there.
The only thing cool about Sexton is Ted Terzian.
Yeah, you know, when you think about it, though, when we played against each other,
Yeah.
you want to rip each other's eyes.
But
when we weren't, we were always, at least I was always pulling for the guys.
oh yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I mean,
And that you're
I still
exactly
do that.
spot
Oh,
on.
yeah. I mean, that's how the way it's been.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. We had a great time. And I remember Lyle McFadden Jr.
Yeah.
And then we went together. We did not like each other. My son was at a wrestling tournament at the field house, and who's in the corner coaching him? Lyle McFadden Jr. I said, that would not have happened back when we were in school. He goes, "It doesn't." But you know what? We respected each other, and that's just what we did. It was fun. It was good.
Okay, so one of the last questions I got asked, how many times per year does the Lynch family patronize Leo's outfit?
Okay, let's do this an easier question.
Okay.
Don't put it in a year. Let's go per week.
Per week, okay.
Okay.
Do you have a
Now,
meal
we got
card?
not the pandemic. Let's take out the pandemic.
Okay.
When we were here,
Normally.
when the kids were in school, we would come here probably three nights a week
3 nights a week.
at a minimum.
Minimum.
Because they had stuff going on, and instead of going home and at 9 o'clock and feeding them, they come down here, they had something to eat, we had pizza, and we'd go home. It was great, and everybody was nice, you know, it was just kind of a cheers type of thing. You know, everybody knew each other, so that was kind of fun. And most of, like we had a football game at night, we would have this whole back room of 50, 60 people.
The coaches.
Yeah, they'd all come down, so we had a real good
I
time.
think Mark Ditzworth's had a couple.
All right, just a couple, just a couple.
Maybe,
Just a couple.
maybe two. So, what is that, as an Eastern guy, what does this place mean to you? Right down the road.
Oh man, I've been coming here since DeMarco's. I grew up on Hazel Street to start with. You know, my family came here. And my mom used to come here after volleyball games back in the '60s. The mushroom steak sandwich was the best in town.
It all goes back
Corey's
to the
has it
mushroom
now.
steak sandwich. Every place we stop by says, well, they have the mushroom steaks, not as good as the one at the Marcos, but still, it's really good.
Right. The tables were really cool. They had little cocktails on there, and the recipe for the cocktail, and yeah, the nostalgia.
Well, I think
Quaker history.
Absolutely. Well, Jimmy, I think, and Teddy and Gary, I think all of us, we want to get these restaurants back. And,
Yeah.
and I mean, you frequent the other Leos and other places, and you think we're going to get there?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're on the right track. I think we're on the right track. So,
We're hanging out places like this with wonderful people, make it all worthwhile. Anyway, I hope your Friday is fantastic. I hope your weekend is safe, and we'll talk to you on Monday for another Touchdown.